Hi guys! Welcome to episode 5 of Auntie Dani Knits. I'm Dani and you can find me online on Ravelry as Lanois, L-A-N-O-I-S, and on Instagram as Danielle Lanois. We've got show notes that will be up on the Ravelry group and also up on the blog, and links to all that will be in the title card at the end of the show. So let's get started. It's June. Holy cow, I don't know how that happened so fast. Life has been crazy. But yeah, it's June now. And Stash Dash has officially started. Stash Dash is run by the Knit Girls. They are awesome. They've got a podcast. It's Leslie and Laura, and Stash Dash is basically a competition mostly with yourself to see how much yarn you can get out of stash between, I believe it started May 26th and ends sometime in August, and that's basically over Laura's summer break. So yeah, Stash Dash has started, and I sat down and I pulled out every work in progress I have, everything that was actively being worked on, everything that was hibernating, and I have a lot. Oh goodness, I have a lot. And part of that is because I let myself start things in May. May has always been a month that I get to start things because Stash Dash is happening, so I'll finish things up and, get it done by the end of August, maybe. That's the logic I use to start a bunch of stuff in May. But I pulled everything out, put it on the dining room table, got out a nice piece of white poster board and took pictures of everything and put it up on my Instagram in a slideshow, and realized that I had 19 works in progress as of the time that I did that. And I actually started 2 more things after that. So I've got a lot of stuff. But the good news is I've got some things finished. So let's move right on into my finished objects. So first is a scarf type shawl that I did for my mom. This is the Seashell Shawl, Seashell Shawl by Francoise Denoy. She's Aroha Knits. And I used the Into the World Gloucester sock in the color Studio West. I knitted on US 7 4.5 millimeter needles. I used my Knitter's Pride Dreams fixed circulars. And I love this. I love the colors. It's got a cream and sort of a dark tealy color and a mintish color and a bluey purple, and I am really pleased with this. These are gorgeous colors. They're perfect for my mom. It's long. It's it's slightly longer than my wingspan, and I'm 5'3", so it's 60 something inches long. It's not very deep, but that was intentional. I mean, that's part of the pattern, but I chose one that's not very deep because my mom lives somewhere that is cold, and she doesn't have any, I haven't knit her any scarves. I've knit her a lot of shawls, but no scarves, mostly because I don't really like knitting scarves all that much, although I do have one on the needles. But we thought that we'd try this shape. She's got a lot of triangle shawls. She's got a couple of half hexy shawls, a couple of half circle shawls, but I haven't done a long sort of skinny crescent. And we thought, this would be great for wearing in the winter. I mean, you can wear it with that sort of kerchief style, but if it's cold, you wrap it around a couple more times and it works as a scarf. So this is going to be a gift for my mom. I cast it on Mother's Day, knowing that this was going to be for her. So that is, again, the Seashell Shawl from Aroha Knits. The second thing I finished has not been blocked yet. I still need to do that. It is a gift for the IT contact from the big IT company that we work with at work. Long story, but anyway, this guy comes in and he's awesome. He and I work together a lot because I'm in charge of in-house IT at our office, which basically means that I'm the one that gets to go and make sure the machine's turned on and make sure that it's not user error before we call in the big guns. But his fiance is pregnant with twins, and I thought, I haven't had a chance to knit for twins before, so I cornered him a couple months ago and said, look, is it going to be weird if I make something for you? He's like, no, it's fine. I'm like, good, because I've never made for twins before. So for his babies, I'm calling it the 2 Peas in a Pod Twin Photo Prop Set. So I'm using a pattern for part of it and my own pattern for the rest. And I'm actually planning on writing up my pattern. Let me show you the pieces. This is not blocked yet, so they will get a wash and block. These are two tiny little baby hats with, got just the little umbilical cord knot end on the tops. So these are, I didn't use a pattern for them. I just cast on, knit for a while, and then decreased. Got them to about baby head size. I'm using Cloudborn Fibers Highland Fingering in Fern Heather. That's the color for this. It's not a superwash, and I feel a little bit bad giving newborn gifts that aren't superwash. I thought I'd order the superwash, and by the time it came, it's not long before the babies are born, and I really want to make sure that I've got all this stuff done. I didn't want to wait another couple of weeks to order things and get superwash. I thought, you know what? It's hats. Hats aren't likely to get all that messy. The next part probably is, but honestly, for the amount of time that the babies will fit in these things, I'm going to probably make him the same offer that I make for a lot of my friends, where when I give them things that aren't superwash, and say, if you bring the items back to me, I will wash them and block them and get them dry back to you, so you don't have to worry about washing them. And I know that's a risky proposition with babies because babies make all sorts of fun messes, but that's okay. I'm gonna make that offer anyway. So these are the two little hats. And then I also made a pair of baby sleep sacks. So these are about 16 inches long. The reason I went with 16 inches is everywhere that I found online said newborns are about 19 inches long, head to toe. I figured, well, there's some space for the head, and then this will work for the body. And I did just a ribbing up at the top, and I figure it'll pull in some, so to start, the whole baby can be in the little sleep sack, and as they get bigger it can go just under the arms, so that they've got something to keep their little legs warm, because we live in a place where it's warm, but because it's warm there are air conditioners running all the time, so the babies might need something to keep their legs warm in the summer, even if they're inside. So I did two of these, and again, no pattern, just cast on at the top, knit some ribbing, knit to, I think I did 13 inches, and then did some decreases, and just sort of a circular bind off. I did it in, it's a little hard to tell, but I did it in 6 sections here. So they sort of spiral down to the tip. So I did a pair of those. And then the fun photo prop part. This was a pattern by Angie Hartley. It's the Peapod Photo Prop crochet pattern. And here we go. It's a little Peapod. And I did this in Knit Picks Brava Bulky in the color Hunter, and I held it double with the leftovers from the Cloudborn Fibers Highland Fingering in Fern Heather. So you can see that it's 2 strands held together. The top here is 2 strands of the Cloudborn Cloudborn Fibers Highland Fingering held double, and it's attached closed up at the top and a little bit down at the bottom, so it opens up and you just tuck the little babies in there in their little green pea hats and baby sacks, and take adorable pictures of them because it's twins. So of course you want 2 peas in a pod. I'm super excited about this, and I'm hoping that once the babies come and they get photos, they might let me put some pictures up on Instagram, or if not Instagram, at least my Ravelry page. So I'm excited about that. And I have a third finished object. Oh, and this one was just such a rush. So on Monday, yes, so this past weekend was a long weekend. We had Monday off, and I had been really rushing to try to finish the set for the twins because I couldn't remember when he said he was going to be done working, because he's taking some paternity leave because twins, you need that. And I couldn't remember if he said beginning of June or beginning of July that he would be done. I thought, you know what, I gotta get these done because I want him to be able to have them. Plus twins tend to come early and I want to, just have them all ready. And so I was working on those throughout the weekend, and Monday afternoon, I stopped and I thought, wait a minute. We have a baby shower at work on Thursday for another girl, and I haven't done anything. Oops. So I pulled out my yarn and I started working on a blanket that you're going to see when I talk about WIPs. But I started working on it and I got about yay far and thought, this is taking forever. There's no way I'm going to get this done in time for the shower. There's just no way. There aren't enough hours in the day, especially not if I have to go to work Tuesday and Wednesday. So Monday, I tried working on that. Tuesday is when I started the blanket that I actually did for the gift. Tuesday after work, I decided, nope, this is just not going to happen, so I need to switch my plans. So I did. And I ended up crocheting this blanket. So this is what I'm calling the Rainbow Blankie. It is a crochet granny square style blanket. So I just started in the center and worked my way out. And so I didn't have it completely done on time for the shower on Thursday. I'd done all but the last pink sections. So I think I had 6 rounds or so to do. Medium, dark, medium, light. 4 sections and then the edging. So I was getting there. But I talked to the girl who was the shower was for and said, I've got this for you. I'm giving it to you because I didn't want to not have a present for you at your shower. But can you give it back to me and I'll take it home tonight and I'll finish it. And not a problem. She loved it. She said, you don't have to do anything else to it. It's perfect. I said, well, you'll like it even more when I'm done. Like, okay. But I'd woven in all the ends, so there were no ends sticking out, so it looked like it could be a finished blanket. So I think that's why she was thinking, oh, you don't need to do anything else. But she was really happy with the finished product with all the extra colors around it. So this one I did using Hobby Lobby I Love This Yarn, and I used a bunch of colors. So I used white, lemon ice, yellow, sun gold, glacier turquoise and antique teal, soft blue, medium blue, and royal, orchid, amethyst, and grape, light gray, graybeard, graphite, soft pink, pink, and hot rose. That was a lot of colors. I had most of those already, partly because I'm using a lot of those same colors for my favorite Afghan that I'm working on, and also because I'm using that same yarn for all of the little Disney princesses that I'm crocheting. So I had a lot of those yarns already, so it wasn't like I had to buy too many new ones. I actually only had to pick up 3 skeins. And yeah, that was a lot of crochet in like 3 days, but I got it done. I don't think I'm gonna try doing it like that again ever. That was just, I stayed up too late most nights and did nothing but crochet. But I'm really happy that I got it done. The girl that we were having the shower for loves bright colors. It was absolutely perfect. She said it matches what she's done in the baby's room just perfectly. So I was really pleased. She was pleased. It was good. So I'm glad that I did it. It was just a lot of crochet. Works in progress. So I've been working on a lot of things. That whole pulling out everything for Stash Dash really made me look at what I've got, and yeah, I need to get through a lot of things. So the first thing I've been working on is Cup Cup's Blankie Extension. This is the one that I've been talking about before. This is the log cabin style blanket, and I'm getting there, slowly but surely. So I've got a full color repeat added on after the initial border. It's okay, so it's only like 9 garter ridges all the way around so far, but still, it feels like I'm getting there. I've had to switch to a new ball of the linen color. So this is done in Rowan hand knit cotton. It's 100% cotton, and it's in the Rosso, the ecru, linen, and Turkish plum. And I'm using my Qiaoyu interchangeable needle set. You can actually see I've got the little end cappies on them. So I'm leaving the stitches live so that when I switch colors, I'm just knitting right onto the previous row. I'm only having to pick up 3 stitches at the end, which is so much better than having to pick up all the way along. That sucked. So I'm really glad that I changed the plans and I'm doing it this way. So that's still getting worked on. And that is actually the project that I've thrown down the gauntlet, said that I'm going to finish for the Boston Jen Downseller Studios WIP 2017 and the Butt Challenge. So that is my June project. I'm going to get it done. I hope. I've had it for like a year, more than a year now. I need to get this thing finished and get it back to the poor little boy who really wants his blanket back. So next thing I've been working on in my sock sack, my Fox sock bag, is the Star Wars Sock Saga. This is the same ones that I was working on last time. These are the Ray socks from Mustache Yarn. It's the Mustache Yarn Perfect Self Striping in the colorway Ray. I'm going to be doing a Fish Lips Kiss heel. This is the pair for Jim, so they're a little bit bigger. I'm getting there. These have been, well, after I finished the baby bags for the guy at work, these have been my purse knitting because I don't really have to count. I know how many rows I need to do from this little dangly marker until I start putting in the heels. And this is not that many. I've got to do probably twice as many I've got on here now. So this is something that I can take, I can do at lunch, I can do in the car, I can do at the movies, wherever. Actually, I probably won't do it at the movies because I don't like doing 2 at a time at the movies, because every once in a while the other strand of yarn will work its way over and get knit in, and it's just a pain. Point being, these are easy to travel with, easy to work on in other random places. So these are going to get some more love too. They're also much smaller than the big blankie. Next up, this is the blanket that I started for the girl at work and decided, nope, it's not going to work. This is, I'm calling it my favorite blanket. This is the same pattern as I'm doing for my favorite Afghan. And I was watching The Hollywood Knitter, and she's doing a crochet blanket that looks very much like this. And I think her pattern is called, the one she's using is called Groovy Gan. But for mine, I actually looked at a blanket that my grandma Blanche knit or crocheted. So it is older than I am. And you can tell by looking at the colors. It's those lovely browns and oranges and yellows of the 60s and 70s. But I love the blanket. But all I did was look at it and sort of look at the crochet stitches, count the number of stitches along this patch before this thing happened, and I'm just winging it. I don't have an actual pattern that I'm working from. This is just based on the blanket that's on my bed. So if you're looking for a specific pattern for it, try searching for the Groovy Gan. I'm not sure how to spell it. I didn't actually look up the pattern myself, but if you are a fan of the Hollywood Knitter, she's doing a blanket that looks very much like this, and it's called the Groovy Gan pattern. So the next one I'm working on is the test knit for Tyga Hilliard. This is the one that I started originally in this stuff, the self-striping, hold it the right way, the Premier Yarn Deborah Norville Everyday that was turning out to be a self-striping. And I thought it was just going to be a headache. So I went back to the store and I got this color. And yeah, it's not going to show up nearly as bright as it is in real life, but it's kind of eye-searing. And it's called Neon Pink. And I'm not going to show you much because it's a test knit, but that's an idea of what it's like. It's super squishy, and I'm knitting this on Clover Bamboo interchangeable needles. So I don't know if you've seen these, but Clover is now doing interchangeable needles, and my local Joann's carries them. So I ended up getting a set of these. I've got the US 6, which is 4.0 millimeters, and the US 8. Yeah, which is 5.0 millimeters, and they're not bad. I mean, the Clover interchangeables work just as well as regular Clovers, so there's that. I also picked up 2 more colors of the yarn. I got Wild Blue and Bright Violet. So I'm gonna have these 3 colors. So this will be for bear, this will be for bug, and this will be for bean, because you can't knit for just one of the 3 sisters. You'll just get in trouble for that. So I've got stuff for all 3 of them, all right there. Another work in progress, and these are all things that I've actively worked on since the last podcast. So this is not just that whole pile of stash dash stuff, because that would be crazy. I'm not going to sit there and talk to you about the entire pile of stash dash. That would be nuts. That would take way more time than I'm willing to put in on a podcast. But this one is another Taiga Hilliard pattern, because that's just what I do. This one is called Sweet Apricot, and it's supposed to be a little tunic shirt, but I'm going to make it a little bit longer and make it into a dress. And this is going to be for Bug, because if you'll remember a couple episodes back, I showed you the dress that I did for Bear. That's it's a sort of pale minty green with little flecks of color. Well, it has the same sort of leafy motif that the bottom of this one has. So they're going to have coordinating dresses, but not matchy-matchy. And then Taiga Hilliard has another one that is called Sprig of Mint, that is more of a baby dress. It's going to look better on the baby than I think it would on a 5-year-old, just style-wise. I think it's going to be cute either way, but it's got a little top, and then it's got this same motif down the center. So they're all going to have the same leaf motif, just in different colors of yarn and slightly different styles of dresses. But that way they can be sort of matchy-matchy, but not really. I think they'll be happy with that. And for that, I'm using Loops and Threads Snuggly Wuggly. I got this at Michael's, I believe, and this is the color Dark Turquoise. I'm knitting it on my Hiya Sharp needles. They're a US 8, 5 millimeter, and I believe I also needed, yeah, I also used a US 7 for part of it. So those are my current whips. I did have a couple of wannabe whips. Let me show you. So when I was trying to come up with what I was going to do for the shower on Thursday, I had a bunch of false starts. So on Saturday, I knew that I needed to do something, and I thought, well, I'll just whip up another one of these baby bags because they're super cute and they're adorable for pictures. I'll make the little matching hat and that'll be great. So I wound up some of my Into the Wool. It's the Skarsgård sock. It's an 80/20 superwash merino nylon in the 24.5 century colorway. It's from the February 2016 Yarn Club. And I like the color. I think it's very pretty. But as I was knitting it, I realized that this wasn't the right color for the baby. Because the room was going to be decorated all in super bright colors, I thought these are beautiful, but they're a little bit more muted than I want. So I pulled it out. I'd only done like an inch of ribbing, so it wasn't that much, but I pulled it out. Okay. What do I have? What do I have? I had some Knitology yarn. It's a sock yarn. I don't have all the details on it because I lost the tag somewhere. But I thought, okay, well, I'll use this stuff. And it had come already pre-caked. And I cast on with this. And I started knitting another baby bag. And it's really cool. It's white with red and blue and yellow and green. So it's super bright colors. And I thought that would be great. You know, that'll be absolutely appropriate for this baby and all of her bright colors. So I started working on this on Saturday evening. And on Saturday evening, I was out. It was Batgirl's first dance recital, so I went. She was super excited to have Auntie Danielle at her dance recital, so I was super excited to be there. But I knew that it was going to be a dance recital, and it was probably going to be long, and there probably going to be a whole bunch of people that I didn't know. I thought, it won't hurt to have some knitting there, so I can just knit in the dark. I've been doing that for years, and this was going to be just in the round, round and round and round. I wouldn't have to look at anything. I should have looked. I think part of it is because this yarn is kind of kinkied up. If you look, it looks like it was probably dyed, like knit into a blank and then dyed and then caked up. But yeah, it's got some kinkiness to it. And I dropped a few stitches, and I was using a US 4, and on the other bags I'd used US 2.5 or 3, and so this was turning out a little bit looser of a gauge than I wanted. I mean, it probably would have been okay. I don't think the girl at work would have known one way or the other what it was supposed to look like compared to what it turned out looking like. I think it still would have been pretty. But I just dropped a couple of stitches, and I just wasn't feeling it. So I pulled that out too. So those were former works in progress, which are just now back to cakes of yarn. Let's talk shopping. You guys. When I started doing this, I thought, you know what? I'm not going to be one of those podcasters that spends a crap ton of money on yarn and makes everyone sort of look at her like she's crazy for buying all this yarn, because how are you going to knit that much? And no, I'm not turning into one of those. I've always been one of those people who just buys yarn. I've got a fairly sizable stash. I will say that for the last probably year or so, I've been really good about only buying yarn for a specific project. I'm not just randomly buying yarn because it's pretty, with, a couple of exceptions here or there if I go to a Fiberfest, but for the most part now, if I'm buying something, it's because I have a reason. So you've already seen a couple of the things that I bought. I got the Premier Yarns Deborah Norville Everyday, I got the Neon Pink, I got the Wild Blue and the Bright Violet, but those are all specifically for that Tyga Hilliard pattern that I'm test knitting, so that I can have 3 of them identical for all the nieces. They're gonna love it. I'm about a third of the way through the biggest size. So that's gonna be no problem. I'm gonna get it all done. It'll be fine, and then that yarn will all be out of my stash. And what little is left will probably get put towards, I'm gonna have to start a worsted weight scrap blanket, because I'm gonna have worsted weight scraps, and that's fine. I don't mind having scrap blankets going for that sort of thing. I also picked up some more Hobby Lobby I Love This yarn, and that was to work on the baby blanket that I have already gifted. I needed to get white, medium blue, and royal. I had all the other colors, so I only need to pick up 3, and honestly I had some white already, but I was pretty sure that I was going to use it up, and I did. I ended up using a full skein, well, what I had left of the skein of white. That whole blanket ended up being like 1,200 yards, so awesome for Stash Dash. But so yeah, I actually crocheted and used more yarn than I bought to work on it, so it evens out a little. Plus I'm going to use that for my favorite Afghan and for the other baby Afghan that I'm working on, so I'm not too worried about that. It's all being used. I also picked up the green, the Cloudborne Fibers Highland Fingering in the Fern Heather for the baby bags, for the sleep sacks and hats, because I didn't have anything in a green. And I did not properly estimate what I was going to need for that pea pod. I ended up using that Knit Picks that I already had here, but I had picked up some yarn. I bought more of the Cloudborne. I bought some of the Cloudborne Fibers Highland Decay in the color Moss, and I got 2 skeins of that. And somehow in my head, these 2 skeins held double were going to be enough to do that pea pod, and they were not. I did not get through very much at all. I probably finished up about half of the first skeins worth when I realized that no, I'm not even anywhere near where I need to be for this to be enough yarn. Well, I'm not going to try to order more, because number one, it probably won't be the same dye lot if I order it. It might be, because it wasn't more than a couple of days after I'd received it that I realized that I needed more. But you know, I decided I'm just going to use something else. I'm going to use the weighty yarn that the pattern called for. What was I thinking? So that means that I now have 2 skeins of this, but somewhere I have one of the Botanical Knits books by Alana Dakos, and I'm thinking, this is a gorgeous botanical kind of green. I mean, it's called moss. It's beautiful. It's sort of a dusty green. It's really pretty, and I think it would make a great hat with some sort of leafy pattern on it. I think it would be beautiful. So these are going to hang out until I can find my pattern book. Guys, if you know where it is, let me know. I have a really good visual recollection of seeing it on the table next to the stairs to the basement. But that table hasn't been there in about 2 years. So I don't remember where it went after it was sitting on the table. It's somewhere. It's driving me nuts. But anyway, so I do have plans for these now. They will be a botanical looking hat, whether it's one from the Alana Dakos book or maybe one of the Tin Can Knits patterns. I don't know. I'll figure out something. But these are going to be a hat. And I think they're going to get knit up pretty much right away. I do so much knitting with fingering weight yarn that when I get to a DK, it goes so fast. And the worsted stuff that I'm doing for the girls, oh, zooming. So that wasn't, it was purchased for a purpose. It wasn't used for the purpose it was purchased for, but it has a new purpose. So I got the Cloudborn yarn from Craftsy, and Craftsy had a sale. Guys, I fell down on a butt yarn. I wasn't going to, but I did, and it's so pretty. I'm really happy with it. I got the Speckle Tonic Triangle Shawl Kit, and I don't have a picture of the pattern. I can't find where the pattern is. It was a downloadable one, so I think I just need to log into Craftsy and find it. But it came with 2 skeins of yarn, and so I've got some Cloudborn Merino Superwash Sock Twist in the color Lagoon, and some Superwash Merino Fingering Drip Dye in Cotton Candy, and I love the way these go together, you guys. They're so pretty. The Lagoon color is in all of this cotton candy, and it's just going to be gorgeous. So these, again, have a specific purpose in mind. The other thing I bought doesn't. Well, it kind of might, because I thought, let me back up. So when I was buying that green yarn for all the baby stuff, I wasn't sure if I was going to like the color as much in person as I did on the screen, because you never know. And out in my patio here, I've got all sorts of stuff set up. I dye my own yarn from time to time, and I have a lot of fun with that. And so I thought, you know what? If these colors aren't right, I will get some natural yarn so that I can fly. Sorry. So if these colors aren't right, I'll get some natural yarn and I'll just dye up my own green. But I was hoping that the colors would be right, because dyeing it was going to take more time to dye the yarn and let it dry, and you know how it is, right? Things take time. So I picked up on sale, because they were having a sale, more Cloudborn yarn. This is the Superwash Merino Sport Twist, and this is a 10-pack. Each one of these is 200 yards, so I've got 2,000 yards of natural colored sport weight yarn, and I didn't know what I was going to do with it. And I'm still debating. One option is to just keep them and dye them up, because why not? I like dyeing yarn, and it's nice to have yarn here ready to go if I want to dye something. But I found a pattern called the Maddie dress, and I really like it, and I think I'll have to look at all the numbers, but I might have enough of the sport yarn to do that. Maybe. And I could do that, would be really cool, because then I have an object from something that I purchased. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, so now I've got this whole big bag of natural colored, I think it's called Ecru, it's plain, sport yarn. So again, I'll see. I'll do something with it. And one more little tumble down. I didn't mean to buy all this yarn this week. Guys, I'm gonna try not to have anything to show you next time because I need to get some of this stuff knit. But hey, that's what Stash Ash is for, right? Getting rid of the yarn that you, not getting rid of, using up the yarn that you've got so that it becomes a lovely finished object so that you don't feel guilty about all the new yarn you've bought in the last year. When I went to Hobby Lobby to pick up the I Love This yarn for the baby blanket, I wandered over to the section of yarn that has the fingering weight yarn because I like to look at it. And the Premier Yarn Wool-Free Sock Stripes yarn was on sale. Not all of them, but several of the colors. So I picked up 2 skeins of Phoenix, 1 skein of Utah, and a skein of Vegas Lights. So I've knit with the Vegas Lights before. I haven't knit with the other ones. I love this stuff for socks, but I also love it for the preemie hats that I've been doing, or the NICU noggins. So at like $3 a ball, and I can get, I think I've been getting 4 hats out of each. So I can get 16 hats out of this. Why not? And this is, I bought this to encourage me to get back to knitting the preemie hats or the NICU hats. Just because I've been working on other stuff, because I only had 1 more ball of acrylic fingering yarn left. So now I've got 4 more balls of acrylic fingering. So hopefully I will get working on those. So not a lot to talk about in shop news today. Just a quick reminder that Monday, June 5th is going to be the last day that you can order the limited edition Fox Mini Nitty Naughties. So if you're watching this right away, you should be able to still get in and get one if you want. But if you're watching it after Monday, sorry. But we are trying to raise money for my friend's son, Sir Fox. We're trying to get enough money raised to bank his baby cousin's cord blood for potential stem cell treatments for complications from a brain bleed that he had in utero. And the baby was born, little baby cousin was born on Monday. She is healthy and doing well, and they were able to raise enough money already to pay to get the cord blood saved. And now they're just trying to raise the remainder of the money so that they can have it properly stored for up to 25 years so that as new treatments are available, Sir Fox is able to qualify and use stem cell treatments to hopefully get himself better. I think that about wraps things up for today. The last thing I wanted to show you was today's nail polish is OPI in my silk tie. It's a nice, super shiny silver colorway. Again, OPI is one of my favorite polishes, so I like it. It's been pretty cheerful. And it goes with whatever I wear, so I don't have to worry about my nails clashing with my outfit. All right, well, I think that wraps it up for today. So happy knitting, and I'll see you next time.